Greetings, fellow humans, and welcome to another Top 5 Wednesday. And this is not my magic wand, although it kind of is. But I wanted to try something different, so basically I'm filming in the first place where I could sit down. I really do hope that the audio isn't too bad because I have a highway next to me, hence the headset. Although I don't have to wear both, I can go for a more casual one earpiece approach. But yeah, weird angle and weird day or weird week, but I wanted to try something different, so let's go. Wait. Let's hope if that also helps with the cough and I don't leave anyone deaf. But today's topic is actually your favorite sci-fi fantasy books of all time. Be it as it may, sci-fi and fantasy is my bread and butter. It's my jam. It's what I love. It's what I love to write and read. More fantasy than sci-fi, but I do enjoy sci-fi, and I'm getting more into it. Off the bat, I have to start with Dune. Dune and Dune Messiah are both two amazing sci-fi works, and I always mention that up front because I have read two of the three books of the Foundation trilogy by Isaac Asimov. And although I do like them a lot, and the world building and the whole complex storyline is amazing, that is a story where it is more story driven than character driven. And although I enjoy it, that's why I love Dune, because the characters in Dune really stuck with me, and still to this day stick with me. The heroes, the traitors, the victims, and the villains. The villains in the entire Dune universe are some bad people. But it is a hell of a series, which I recommend for anyone who's looking into sci-fi, but it's a bit on the heavy side. It's not something light. So keep that in mind. Second off, The Hobbit. The Hobbit is basically next to another series. It's the book that I've read the most in my life at 4 times. I will probably be rereading it once I get it from Puerto Rico. I know I say this often, but it is what it is. Until I get that book again, I will have to crave for it. And I just think that The Hobbit is better than Lord of the Rings. I'll just come out and say it. Because Lord of the Rings is nice and it's intense and the world building is intense, but it is long as hell. And The Hobbit doesn't take itself as seriously, and it's a bit more condensed. So between it being more condensed and I think a more fun read, Lord of the Rings is so long that you can pick and choose your favorite spots easily. Those that were in the movies and those that were not in the movies, but still. As a whole, it is so long that there will be parts that you're not that in love with. Whereas with The Hobbit, I love the entire book. And just Bilbo. Bilbo is awesome, and Gollum. The introduction to Gollum is one of the best introductions to any character ever. He is so disturbing and such a good anti-villain, anti-hero. We don't even know how to define Gollum because he's so twisted. He's villainous, but there are shades of hope that ultimately don't end up that well. I'm trying to look for the headpiece so that when I cough, it's not that bad. Sorry, guys, there's pollen in my lungs. Been eating some salt air, which there isn't much in Georgia. Number 3. I will not pick one of the series, but Harry Potter. Anyone who's watched this channel and sees my wand mannerisms knows that Harry Potter means a lot to me. And actually, Harry Potter was the kick in the ass I needed to get into writing. That's actually something I don't think I've mentioned much. When I got into Harry Potter, something clicked in me that made me want to see what came out of the old brain. And, a couple of my goals as a writer, first off, is to write something that makes me feel like, that makes the reader feel like I felt with Harry Potter. Meaning, laugh out loud, cry, be angry, be frustrated, be afraid, everything. Really, really experience the gamut of emotions. And Harry Potter did that for me and injected my life with a serious dose of magic, which was severely needed. I look at Harry Potter as, an entire narrative. That said, it's between Azkaban and Order of the Phoenix, my favorites, but I love all of them. Even Chamber of Secrets that people go like, oh, it's not that good. And I go like, I still enjoyed it and tore through it. Oh, The Cursed Child is fan fiction. Yeah, and I read it in 2 days. I just love that world. And can only hope to create something that memorable. And that, honestly, one of my goals is to write something that that either Joanne or Neil Gaiman would read and they would go, wow, this is something that I want to read again and keep. As a thank you, because I do push through writing a lot. And in part, I would like to be read by those people, not because I want someone famous to read me. No, but it's for them to know that they really made an impact on me, and that they're definitely a motivation to write my heart out. I'm sorry, guys. This pollen is fun, and it's just starting. So let's see how I end up doing. Number 4 on the list. Honestly, Peter Pan. The thing is, I've read the book only twice, but it's something that I'm going to reread, and I'm going to probably look for a good version, a good hard cover version of it. It's a boy who can fly. I'm writing a project that the code name is The Boy Who Dreams About Flying. So yeah, you can definitely tell that Peter Pan rubbed off on me, and that the book really hit home. And lastly, I do have honorable mentions, by the way, and further comments. But lastly, to finish out this list of classics, and that's something that I really want to focus on. Alice in Wonderland still blows me away because it's a kid's book and it is not an easy read. It demands your attention and to only be reading Alice in Wonderland. And I read that in a flight, not in a day, in a flight. And that was like 3.5, 4 hours that I read that book, and it is as memorable as it is worthy of being reread, because there are so many little details in that book that you don't get the first time around. But still, it's a fantastic book. And I mentioned 5 classics because they're a classic for a reason. Peter Pan, I was exposed to as to that literary work as a child via the movie and the Disneyland ride, and I actually came to read Peter Pan for the first time like 4 years ago, maybe 5. It's something that I'd read excerpts, and then when I finally read it, I was like, wow, why did I take so long in reading the book? And the same with Alice in Wonderland. I saw the Disney movies, but then I read the book and was blown away by how deeper it all went. The Hobbit is... And I actually didn't mention another classic, but I will in the honorable mentions. But The Hobbit is the first book that inspired me to reread books. I would read books, but to reread books, the first book I ever reread was The Hobbit. And Dune, when I read that, it just it just broke me a bit in the best way. It was so real and so engaging and so amazing that it definitely invites you to push yourself to do something that feels real, to the point that you go like, wow, does this exist? Another classic that actually gets an honorable mention because I gave it some thought, and although I love the series in its entirety is not consistent, which is unfair because this is about books, not series. But since Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland are pretty much one-offs, they do have quasi-sequels, but there's the main story. The Chronicles of Narnia didn't make this list. And it didn't make the list because, although I enjoy the series, the first, sequentially, not in order of publishing, the first and last book weren't that great. Or I didn't love them as much. I really do hope that the wind got controlled. If not, I'm going to have to re-record this, and that happens a lot lately. But the Chronicles of Narnia, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe still sticks with me to this day. And since I looked at the series, I was like, I'm going to do an honorable mention simply because the entire series didn't do it for me. But I could easily trade The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe for either Peter Pan or Alice in Wonderland. So there you go. Super consistent Top 5 Wednesday. Sneaking in titles here and there. That said, 2 additional honorable mentions. Coraline makes me smile. In movie version, in graphic novel version, and in book version. It is a fantastic book. It is dark and it is for kids. You don't get that often. That's cool. And I also want to mention the Discworld. The thing is that since I've only read 3 books, I didn't want to put it in the list because I wanna read at least 10 books before I start putting it consistently in any list. But Terry Pratchett is something else, and I say that often. But I do think that I got very late to the show. So, and yeah, that's about it. So tell me what you think about these books, this selection. If you have a link to your Top 5 Wednesday, by all means put it in the comments so I can check it out. Until next time, peace, love, and maki rolls.